Hi, my name is Tiffany and I want to share my story. I've been victimized by the criminal justice system, and that's why I'm making this video. So please try to follow my story. It's kind of a long and complicated one, but if you listen and pay attention, you'll understand. It's quite frightening. At this very moment, there are over 7.5 million Americans in either jails, prisons, on probation, or parole. To some stats, those prisons have predicted that their populations will increase by 52% to 75% by the year 2020. That's an alarming stat. That's not including the juveniles. America has the largest prison population in the world. It has even surpassed the combined prisoners of the Soviet Union and China in the height of the communist regime. It's an alarming fact, and one that I want to bring to light because I am one of those stats. Americans need to know what to expect in the future. Pay attention to all the prisons that are being built. Not universities, prisons. It's quite frightening. Please wake up, America. Anyhow, like I said, my name is Tiffany and I want to share my story. I'm a 40-year-old American, and I have been victimized by the criminal justice system. I'm not a hardened criminal, but on paper, I'm a monster, and they have that power to do that to you. It has taken advantage of me and my lack of knowledge of how it works, and today I want to take a stand. The system has turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry. Protect and serve is a motto that comes with a price and not a guarantee. When's the last time you felt warm and safe when an officer pulled up behind you and you saw him in your rearview mirror? Did you feel safe and warm? Or did you feel like, oh, get out of here, I don't want a ticket? Did your heart pound a little bit? Isn't that kind of telling you something? Something's going on. True heroes don't put the price of a human in their pocket. It has destroyed the lives of so many for the price of money, power, and fame. It no longer stands for justice, it stands for corruption. Humans have become the new commodity, and as strange as that may sound, do your homework. It might surprise you. At 50 to 60,000 a head, that's a lot of money. So many people are blind to the fact of what is really going on right under their noses. They have not yet experienced what millions have. No one ever wants to share their experience with the law, so you never know who's next to you who's experienced them. So 7.5 million as of today, that's a lot of people. So you wouldn't be surprised if your neighbors were a felon. And it's kind of a frightening experience. I want to share my story with you. It's a frightening one I hope you never have to live. July 23rd, 2009, I was in an accident. My 2005 Toyota Camry took me for a ride when it has changed my life forever. I survived an accident caused by my Toyota's accelerator. This was 2 months before the 911 call from that highway patrolman's passenger. The vehicle sped out of control due to the accelerator sticking. It was the exact same thing that happened to me. After my accident, my injuries were confused with being drunk, and so $250,000 bail and a strike with a DUI with bodily injury, I was a big fish, and so they weren't going to let me go. When I was booked into Fresno County Jail, I had a concussion, and it's funny, at the time of the accident, I told everyone that my accelerator had stuck, but before it was all the publicity, no one believed me. It was 2 months later that the accident had happened with the 911 people, and by then, they had sunk me into their system so deep that there was no way they were going to get me out. And so I'm sure after 2 months after my accident, when it was nationwide, heck, it was worldwide, I'm sure those officers felt a little strange, I hope, because I told them over and over. It's funny, I thought my nose was broken because the airbag went off in my face, and my whole left side was injured from head to toe. I hit my head on the window, and I had a major concussion. Being that I didn't take their ambulance ride, I was denied medical attention in the facility and any time after. I still have yet to have medical attention, and so I was in a horrible accident, and I was denied it by my insurance company and by Fresno County. They said because I didn't take their ambulance ride that I wasn't injured, and that's not true. I did deny the ambulance ride because usually they cost you about $10,000, so I was just getting back on my feet, and it's funny, you know, I was in an accident and I wasn't thinking right. And boy, I wish I would have just taken that ambulance ride. Whew. Um, it's funny, when one of the officers had administered some tests on me, he said if I didn't tell him the truth that these tests would kill me. And I thought that was a little strange for an officer to tell me something such as that. So he really scared me, and I was alone. I was denied a phone call to my husband and to my insurance company. And I think after a horrific accident such as that, I think your loved ones and your insurance company should know. I think it was my right. And I think they did that so I wouldn't have anyone there for me. It was just very foul what they did. Um, Now, let me kind of explain something to you. After the accident happened, usually they do a run on you, and so they already had a picture of me painted. So that's what kind of biased police officers do. Is they kind of run and check on you, and they think they know who you are, but they don't. Because let me go back, and I want to start from the very beginning. Because like I said, hang in there with me, and just if you keep up with me, you'll be able to follow this. And it's my story, and it's kind of an incredible one. I was born June 7th, 1970, and I always thought if I was born a month later that my luck would have been different because I would have been born on 7/7/70, you know, seven. But it's funny. My biological father at birth had abandoned me, and which is, you know, I'm already kind of not screwed in life, but I already have a broken limb, you know, and not knowing your other half is kind of crucial. I always felt half empty instead of half full, which I don't know why I felt that way, but it's kind of nice when you get to know who your real father is. Uh, it's funny, in my head, I always felt like my dad might have been this CIA guy or this FBI guy because he was never around, and maybe that's why he couldn't spend time with me. You know, maybe he was someone important or special, not just some deadbeat who abandoned me. But fact of the matter was, he was just a deadbeat who abandoned me. And so, it's funny. Sometimes I guess fairy tales can put a band-aid on reality. And now, when I was growing up, I always kind of kept to myself, a shy little girl, because I really felt like I didn't have anyone to run to. My mom was always busy with the other kids, and um, I had a stepfather, and he was busy working and, you know, doing what stepfathers do, or men. But let's see, my stepfather came into my life when I was 3 years old, and he took on three kids that weren't his, and I really commend that man because he took on more than he should have. There was no help from the other father, so it was not good. Um, when I was 5 years old, one of my older brothers sexually molested me, and I kept that secret to myself for many, many years because he told me if I ever told anyone that he would hurt my mother. So he knew which buttons to push, and those weren't good buttons. Um, when my younger brother was born, my stepfather's real son, the two older brothers were just too much to handle, so they moved away to live with other relatives, and I was very glad to see him go because the abuse stopped at that point in time. I kept to myself a lot when I was younger, and when my younger brother was born, I got real closed in just because there was never any time for Tiffany. And I don't blame my parents for that just because life is always so busy and things happen. But I took it really hard because I didn't have my real father. Um, I always thought the perfect family was Leave It to Beaver, believe it or not. That was one of my favorite shows, and I know that's kind of a dream fairy tale, but it was always really nice. Everything was explained to the kids, and it was just a fun show. I know I might seem a little weird, but it was a great show. I started my menstrual cycle when I was 11 years old, and I had really bad periods. I mean, they hurt and very, very severe for an 11-year-old to go through, and so it took a lot of toll on me. It made me anemic, and I think it gave me health issues today, but you know, they were really bad, and they made me very moody and just very hard for my little body. Uh, things started getting weird at the house, and I started feeling alone and really boxed in. And after I'd started my menstrual cycle, I got real moody and sad, and it just felt like there was no one around to listen to me. And I felt really alone and frightened. And I was tired of living, so I decided to take 50 aspirin, maybe more. But it made me really sick. And it's funny because I did divulge what I had done to my parents because I was starting to get scared, and I wasn't sure if I really wanted to die at that point. But when I told them, I was hoping that they would oodle and oddle me and say, "Oh my goodness, why would you ever do anything like this?" But they took it a different way. They got really angry and upset because I'd frightened them so much, and I didn't understand that. And so, um, being that we didn't see eye to eye and stuff, I just life started getting very strange at the house. And after I frightened my parents so much, they decided to send me out to some foster homes, see if they could straighten me out or whatever. And at one of the foster homes, one of the ladies wanted to adopt me, and that frightened my mom, so they moved me to group home. And the group home was actually fun. I had a good time there. I got to go camping and museums and things that I didn't do at the house. So it was actually fun, believe it or not. But when I came back home, things still weren't right, and so at 13 and a half, I ran away from home.